Welcome to our weekly news update from George and Surrounds on a Tuesday. Today is 28 May and I'm Ilse Skoenraad for Group Editors Live. The election kicked off yesterday with South Africans casting their special votes Monday and today. But tomorrow, Wednesday 29 May, is the big day when 27,672,264 South African citizens are expected to make their crosses on 3 ballot papers in a landmark election that could see the ANC lose its outright majority for the first time in 30 years. In the hope of this happening, calls have come from across the political spectrum: business, media, commentators, human rights groups and civil organizations, urging people to exercise their right to vote. A tense few days await South Africans who will be waiting with bated breath as the final election results will only be known on Sunday, when we will see which party or parties will have the right to party. The IEC is expecting more than 2/3 of the electorate to cast their vote. In the Western Cape, 3,310,798 people are registered to vote, which comprises just 11.96% of the national voters' roll. And here's some excellent news. Group editors will be bringing you the election results live as the votes are counted 24 hours a day. Starting on election day at 7 o'clock, we are bringing our readers and viewers a live feed to all the election results on each of our 6 websites. Just go to the homepage of georgeherald.com, mosselbayadvertiser.com, knysna-plett graaf-reinette advertiser.com, oudtshoornkoerant.com or suid-kaapforum.com. Click on the live election results banner on the homepage and you will have all the latest national and provincial results at your fingertips. You will also be able to see how people voted in the respective municipal districts. Back to George. Multiple investigations have been launched to determine the cause of the Victoria Street building disaster on 6 May, with V3 consulting engineers leading the Western Cape government's investigation. Last week, Premier Alan Winde said he has a responsibility to Western Cape residents to ensure that we get the answers everyone is seeking. With many people asking questions about the municipality's role during the construction process, George Mayor Leon van Wyk told Group Editors Live that no municipality does inspections when it comes to multi-storey buildings and that the construction process is completely self-regulated.
I'm saying because no municipality in terms of South Africa, in terms of the law, gets involved in a multi-storey building. Because a building inspector doesn't have the qualifications or the experience or the ability to go and judge the strength of concrete or whether all of those aspects are done. That's why you have a structural engineer.
To see the full interview, go to our Group Editors YouTube channel or click on the video tab at georgeherald.com. Sarah Crescent in Rosedale experienced a bloody weekend with 2 unrelated murders committed in this same street. In the first murder, a 37-year-old man was arrested after he allegedly stabbed his brother, 34, to death on Saturday evening, 25 May. According to Southern Cape Police spokesperson Sergeant Chris Spies, it is believed the 2 brothers had an argument before the younger brother was stabbed to death. In the other incident, 3 suspects were arrested in connection with the murder of a man in the early hours of Sunday morning, 26 May. According to Spies, the victim had multiple injuries. The trio is facing a murder charge each. 2 men were murdered in 2 unrelated incidents in Zone 6 and 9 in Thembalethu over the weekend. In the first incident, a man was stabbed, allegedly by another person who was known to the victim, after an altercation at a tavern. The second victim's body was found next to the road by a man on his way to work. The victim had a stab wound to the body. More information in both cases is awaited. An armed robbery at a popular restaurant in the George CBD on Saturday evening has left the staff in a state of shock. The employees of Texas Grill in Mead Street were finishing up for the day at about 11 o'clock when 4 men, 2 armed with firearms, entered the restaurant from the Donnerell Square entrance at the back. They tied the staff's hands with cable ties and forced them behind the bar. The men then proceeded to clear out the safe and tills before making off in a vehicle believed to have been parked at the back. Over the weekend, robbers also targeted a filling station in Thembalethu. Read more about these business robberies in the George Herald and online on Thursday. Some of the Georgians who lost millions of rands by investing their savings with the late Bonnie Brink Lawrence from George have spoken out. After the police started investigating her for fraud, Brink Lawrence disappeared in January. Her body was found in Victoria Bay on 15 May. One of the victims, Susan Gordon, who is in her 80s, says she feels absolutely betrayed by Bonnie, who was like a child in her home. Read more on Thursday. And now over to sport news. On Saturday, 25 May, Douglas Pickard and Maria Marinkovic and 45 other Matmile athletes conquered a tough 100-mile course, 161 kilometers through the Outeniqua Mountains. The flagship Mat by UTMB distance runners were joined by nearly 2,000 fellow trail runners on their quest to complete one of 6 race distances. Pickard said the Outeniqua Matmiler is a mix of every other 100-miler in the country, featuring high mountains, pristine fynbos, indigenous forests, river crossings, mud and a stretch on the beach. He said it's tough but beautiful. South African trail running legend and Mat marathon winner Ryan Sandys said if he were to live anywhere other than Cape Town, he'd live in George, as it is beautiful with many outdoors things to do. And now for rugby news. The SA Cup in which the Eagles played has ended, and when it comes to rugby, Group Editor's attention is now 100% focused on the SWD Premier League. On Friday, we will air a studio interview with Granville Kamfer, coach of Evergreens in Puckelsdorp, and Eddie Miners of Bridgeton in Oudtshoorn, to talk about this weekend's derby in Bridgeton. What makes the game and interview even more exciting is the fact that Miners coached Evergreens last year and also assisted Kamfer in coaching Evergreens before that. This game is sure to be one for the books. See the interview this Friday of any of our websites by clicking on the video icon or view it in the Group Editor's YouTube channel. And that's it for our Tuesday News Wrap. I'm Ilse Squinrad for George Herald and Group Editors Live.